Yo guys, what's up and welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm going to show you all how to make crazy synth beats and samples from scratch in the style of Yeat. So first I'm going to show you all the sample, then I'm going to break it down and show you all how I mix it. Then after that I'm going to show you all how I made a crazy beat to the sample. So make sure to stay till the end, please make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and make sure to leave a cool comment, that would really mean a lot. And thank y'all for almost 1.7k on here. Y'all been going crazy, we just hit 1.6k last week. I appreciate the support a lot. Make sure to turn on the post notifications because I will be live streaming a lot from now on. And yeah, as I said, make sure to leave a like, follow me on all my socials, and yeah guys, let's go. So I started off with using Serum and I used the Guava preset from Dynox Blast Bank, and I laid down this pretty simple pattern. As you can see, it's nothing more to it, it's just these simple two note chords, and I had this for a bit of variation right here, just a few like lead notes, and the whole pattern sounds like this. And for the effects on the synth, I really just had the soup just to get rid of all the unnecessary and unwanted frequencies. And I had this simple low cut just because I didn't like the low frequencies that much, so I just cut them out. And that's basically it for the effects on the synth. Then for the next thing I had this vocal which sounds like this. And as I can see, I just chopped it up because I didn't like how the full vocal sounded like, but I like the lead texture in the vocal, I guess. So I basically just chopped it up in two parts, which y'all will hear when I play it. And I just put it into key, time stretched it, put the declicking mode on generic, and this is how the finished vocals are sounding like. And for the effects on these vocals, I had this Fruity Reverb 2 with these settings, then this Soothe with these settings just to get rid of all the unwanted and unnecessary frequencies, and then this EQ where I cut out a lot of the lows and low mids and some of the highs, and I put it 12% in stereo. Then for the next thing I had this lead from the Dynox Blast Bank again, and this lead pattern is basically what makes the sample so hard, because it gives the sample way more power than without it obviously. And I just laid down these three notes on the half step and then just copied it over, as y'all can see, and then I switched it up on every second bar. I did it here again and then just copied it over, and this is how the finished lead pattern is sounding like. Then for the effects on this lead, I had this EQ because there were a lot of frequencies that shouldn't be there, or like just were too much or like too harsh, and I just EQ'd them out. Then I had this Valhalla Vintage Verb where I tweaked the mix and the decay. Then this Soothe on hard settings just to get all the unnecessary and unwanted frequencies that were left, and this EQ which I just had for the low cut. Then for the next thing I had this FX which is called Bits, and it's from the Blast Bank again from Dynox, and I basically just laid down this simple pattern. I didn't really do much to the sound, and it sounds like this. For the effects on this sound, I had this Soothe with the hard setting again, then this EQ where I cut out a lot of the lows and a lot of the highs, and I pan it 90% to the left. And please keep in mind, I just had this EQ because I wanted to duck it into the background, and it worked pretty well, as y'all will hear in the final sample. And now let's go on to the next sound. Then for the second part of the sample, I had this lead which is called Steps. It's from the Blast Bank again, and I laid down this pretty simple pattern and repetitive pattern. I just had this pattern and copied it over and then switched it up in the last part right here, and then just copied it over again. And this lead pattern is basically just there to give the whole sample more variety, and it worked pretty well, and it sounds like this. And for the effects on this lead, I just had this Valhalla Vintage Verb where I tweaked the mix and the decay. Then I had the Soothe on the hard setting, this EQ where I cut out a lot of the lows and some of the highs, and I panned it 12% to the right, and that's basically it for the lead. Then for the next thing, which is the bass, I had this bass which is named Hardcore, and again from the Blast Bank from Dynox. And I laid down this pretty simple bass line. It's just the root notes from a synth, and it sounds like this. Then for the effects on this bass, I just had this EQ where I took out some of the muddy lows and I took out a bit of the highs just because I didn't like how it sounded and it clashed a bit with the synth. Then after that I ran the sample out, put the declicking mode generic on, normalized it, put the mode on stretch and put it on the 8th mixer track. And on the 8th mixer track it's just basically this EQ where I cut out some of the muddy lows, and that's basically it for the sample, and the finished sample is sounding like this. So now I just open up there for P for the beat, and the first thing I did was obviously dragging in the sample, and what I did for the sample was just put in the declicking mode on generic, put the mode on stretch and the trim knob fully in because it's an MP3 sample and that's what you have to do unless you want like a little space at the beginning from the sample. And then for the first drum sound I used this Ferno hit 1 hi-hat, and I laid down this pretty simple and basic Yeat type hi-hat pattern, which is always those triplets. Then I had this roll right here, these triplets right there and these triplets right there. I just copied it over 3 times, and yeah, as I said, it's a pretty repetitive pattern and it sounds like this. Then for the next thing I had this perky clap from Ferno's kit again, and it's just some basic clap pattern which sounds like this. Then for the next thing I had the short open hat from my stash kit, and it's just some basic pattern which just makes the 808 hit even harder, and it sounds like this. And then for the next thing I had the slime open hat out of my stash kit again, and as you can see it's a crazy repetitive pattern, but it just sounds good with the overall beat and the height pattern. And as you can see, it only comes in the second part of the hook just to give it more variation then, and that it's not that repetitive the whole time. Then for the next thing I had this drag kick out of my stash kit again. It just hits then when the 808 hits. I just put it on C because I liked how it sounded on C. I turn up the velocity the whole time besides here, and the kick pattern is sounding like this. Then for the next thing I had this Chase the Money 808, which is pretty common in these type of beats, and I laid down this pretty complex pattern and then just played with the pitches of the different notes as you can see, and you can see that the 808 matches the kick just with different notes, and the first 808 pattern is looking like this and the second 808 pattern is looking like this. So I just copied it over but with the spins 808 as you can see, and this is how the second pattern is looking like. It's the same notes but with the spins 808 just to give it more variety and to give it a different feeling to it, and the full beat with both 808s is sounding like this. So yeah guys, if you all enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and to subscribe to my channel. Make sure to activate the post notifications, I would really appreciate that because I will be live streaming a lot from now on, as I said. Make sure to comment something cool under this video, and don't forget to follow me on all my socials, the links for that will be in my description. And as I said, thank you all for this crazy support, and yeah guys, see y'all.